This is not the first wrong thing he does. He has punched women in the face and gotten caught during concerts. He has made homophobic grants before. He has made fun of people. I don't believe in culture. We're always going to say that. I'm not one for that. It takes me a lot for that. Do I want him to be canceled? No. Do I think he's annoying as F? Yes, I do.
Hi, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Jeffrey.
And welcome to So, What's Trending?
The bi-weekly podcast that brings
the sass, the spicy,
and the serious to lifestyle and entertainment news. Close enough. The closest we've had it yet. Welcome, everyone. And thank you guys so much for joining us to the episode 4. Thank you to everybody that's been with us. Thank you to everybody who's discovering us. And thank you who anybody's just wants to know what's trending out there. Hi, my name is Jeffrey, and I'm here with the wonderful matchmaker and co-host,
Anthony.
And we're also friends in real life too, so it's awesome. And
no, I hate this guy. He's atrocious.
The worst. It's the worst. But yeah, so thank you guys. There's a lot to discuss today, and it's a really exciting week. Everything that includes from the Olympics, guys, all the way to why DaBaby is being canceled. Matt Damon, back to school. We're going to be talking about that and a lot of other things we hope you guys are interested for and are tuning in for. So again, welcome, and we're here. So how are you doing, Anthony? How's this week been?
Ooh, how have this week been so far? So a lot is going on. As you all know, it is summer. I'm trying to enjoy the best that I can. However, with the Delta variant, it is sadly putting a halt to all of my activities that I want to do. I usually like to take my weekends and usually just like to be out and about in LA because there's just so much you can do. And recently, with the Delta variant that has been going on for a few weeks now, it's just been a whirlwind of emotions. And then take that and then take my amazing job as a matchmaker with everything going on with my job and then with my blog. And then me and Jeffrey working behind the scenes for you guys for So What's Trending. There's a lot going on in our plate, but we love what we do. And we really love bringing the sass, the spicy, and the serious to you guys. There's just a lot going on. Like my co said, we have the Olympics, we have situations going on in Hollywood, and we have a special spilling the reality we would love to spill to you guys. How are you, Jeff? How's everything going for you?
It's been a really crazy 2 week. Just a lot of stuff, yeah, some stuff that are definitely dampers, but some stuff that are really positive. This show is always an upkeep and whatever, and for those, I'm being really honest. Due to COVID, I did lose 2 of my jobs, but I'm comfortable with admitting that because I know a lot of you guys out there are in the same boat and we're in this together. It's hard to find full-time jobs at this moment. Part-time jobs come a little bit easier, but full-times, especially in the state of California, has been kind of competitive out there. But all in the good news is that things are opening up, but it has been really confusing with the Delta numbers going up and people getting sick and all that. I feel like the arts are always here to make us feel better, and that's why I love this podcast so much. So
especially since we were doing so good with the COVID cases,
and technically compared to other states and even other countries, we're still doing better, which is a really sad thing to say when you look at numbers or areas. I mean, they've basically say it would take a lot more for us to have a shutdown, but it's just, I think no one knows how to deal with this. It is a very confusing thing, mask, no mask, whatever. But I mean, whatever they tell us to do, well, at least on my part, I'll do. I just want to make sure all my loved ones and me are protected. But yeah, but other than that, a lot of cool, I think Olympics, talking about that has been actually a really inspiring thing. I think COVID has made me really an emotional person. When you're locked up in four wall, well, it's not technically four walls, but family or single, whatever it is within your house, you do go through emotional roller coasters. But I think good things are starting to come up. A lot more things are opening up, and I think we should definitely allow that positive energy into our lives, you know, and keep thinking that way. And also help each other out, be kind to one another and keep that energy out there.
Absolutely. Like I'm always here for my co-Jeff. I try my best to keep in contact with him because we would love to be in person recording these. However, with the whole pandemic going on, we need to resort to Zoom calls. But sooner or later, we will do an in person, in the same room recording. And I can't wait for that day to come.
Yeah.
But until then, me and Jeff are so excited to spill what is trending to you guys for people who are new to the podcast. So, What's Trending is a bi weekly podcast that brings the sass, the spicy, and the serious to lifestyle and entertainment news every other Friday. We are currently on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. So go check us out. And you can go follow us on our social medias with the podcast at So What's Trending Podcast, and me, Anthony Canapi, at Matchmaker Anthony, and Jeff at
F.A. Valdivieso, which are also linked to our Instagrams and Twitters, and you guys will see those links there. Because I know my last name is quite a handful.
yes, yes, it is. But throughout time of us knowing each other, I still somehow say it wrong.
Oh, you're good. Actually, you say it closer than a lot of other people would say it.
I try. I
Yes.
try. So that being said, we are going to go ahead and get started with our first segment. So, what's trending? In this segment, we basically talk about what's trending and report it back to you with our unpopular opinions. So that being said, Jeff, let's talk about the Olympics.
So during these hard times and emotional times, inspiration is definitely what we needed. And that brings us to the 2021 Olympics, which are currently being held in Tokyo, Japan. And it's been quite a year and actually worth the wait. If you guys all remember, they were scheduled originally for last year, but due to the pandemic, they crossed over to this year successfully. Tokyo is definitely taking measures to protect their people and all of the athletes during these times. The opening ceremony took place July 23rd and the closing ceremony on August 8th. Please check your local listing, guys, to check on those are. Those are always really beautiful inspirations. The opening ceremony had Alejandro Sanz and John Legend perform. It was really quite an event. And before we even get to the amazing highlights that we're definitely going to talk about, because there were many, one unique fact from the Olympic Games is that the medals this year are made from a combination of gold, silver, bronze, of course, each in its own lane, and impressively recycled cell phones and other electronics. So the gold medal, to explain, is not only made of gold, but it's made out of gold and a combination of old or recycled cell phones and electronics, and their fourth, silver and bronze. They really wanted to not only be healthy, but also be very eco-friendly. Japan is known for that. And some of my most favorite highlights were not even the wins. And I think this year we needed that. There were just many, many, many awesome things that showed the human spirit. And we'll start with you, Anthony. What are your favorite highlights of this year so far, or in general?
So I think when it comes to the Olympics, one of the events that I was very much so ready to keep my eyes out for was the women's gymnastics. It's always something in which I always hold my breath because I give all these amazing women from across the world so many props. I could never do what they're doing. And the fact that they are doing this during this time of COVID and also with a lot of the pressure that goes into going into the Olympics, it's a lot. For people who didn't see it on our social media, Simone Biles had to withdraw from a few of the events that she was supposed to attend due to mental health. And there's a lot that goes into it. A lot of people have their opinions on it. Me and my co very much so stand for her decision. There's so much that goes into this.
Yes.
And I am someone who likes to keep the tally. So, for people who don't know, China is currently leading with the most gold medals at 32 gold medals as of today, which we are recording this on Wednesday, August 5th. And when it comes to the most medals, the United States of America is currently leading with 84 medals in total. But I think the most important thing that I would love to talk about is the Asian American Olympians representing the United States.
Woo!
I really do believe, as an Asian American myself, specifically Philam, competing for the gold in the Tokyo Olympics as the Asian American Olympians they are and Pacific Islanders, there's a lot going into it after the hashtag Stop Asian Hate movement. So, according to, I apologize if I'm saying this incorrectly, Axios, advocates say that anti Asian hate is taking a mental health toll on Asian Americans, and Asian American athletes are entering the games under the added pressure of competing in Asia before a worldwide audience. They're also under restrictions that their ability to voice their political views, and at least two Asian American athletes say they experience episodes of bigotry as they prepare to compete in the Olympics, and as other Asian Americans have encountered assaults linked to anti Asian hate. So, all that being said, I am so happy that I got to see Suni Lee get the all around gold medal for the women's gymnastics for Team USA. It really got to show that not only is she representing the United States of America, but she's also represented as a proud Asian American. And that was something that was very important to me. And I also do want to shout out to Philippines as a proud Philam. I am so happy that the Philippines is currently at this time taking home 3 medals. So with the gold from Hindalyn Diaz for weightlifting, Nesty Patesho for boxing for the silver, and bronze for Yamir Marcial for boxing as well. And a special shout out for Carlo Palam. I really do hope you get the gold medal. So we're crossing our fingers for you.
Yes.
But personally, for me, that's how I'm taking my Olympics watchings during this time with everything going on in the world today. Of course, I'm so happy of my United States of America for all the amazing medals that they have won during this time. 84 medals. That's a lot of medals. We're currently leading with the most medals. And it's something that I get to say I'm a proud citizen of the United States of America. And although we're not the perfect country, we do try our best to lead with civilness and lead with pride.
Yes, very much. And I agree with a lot of that stuff. I also have my own, and I'll get to that in a moment. I just like conversating for what Anthony just said. And I am very people are gonna be wise so for like Asian love or whatever. For a lot of you guys don't know, I grew up in the city. I don't want to disclose. That was very much majority Asian population. So the majority of my friends, even though I am Latino, and I do have a lot of Latino friends and Hispanic friends and family, and I love and I'm very proud. The majority of my friends tend to be Asian sometimes. I even have an Indonesian goddaughter who's half Mexican as well. And so it was awesome to kind of celebrate like you said, the Filipino gold win. That was great to see on everybody's Instagram, and Sun Lee and all these really amazing, even China winning their first, you know, uh, their first gold medal in track. I want to give a shout out for that. Uh, but personally, for me, other than definitely the Simone Biles, even winning recently bronze on the balance beam after her mental health break, I think it was a lot of stuff. I think watching the launch of skateboarding, if you guys didn't watch that, if you guys grew up with like Tony Hawk and a lot of, well, I'm 33, so in my year, during the 90s, the X Games have always been such a big thing. So to see that finally be considered a sport was such a beautiful thing. And watching the that kind of showmanship as well, Brazil and Japan, and these are all California, USA. These are all people that have gone now with medals, and it was wonderful to see that. And I'm very proud to say it had launched, because people always back in the day would say, "Oh, it's not a real sport. It doesn't take skill," but it's hard to skateboard. You guys try it. I don't do it for that reason, but I give a big congratulations and welcome to all the skateboarders out there. My other great moments, even though there was many out there, was actually the two high jumpers. I don't know if you guys saw that. Qatar's Mutsen Essa Barshim in Italy's Gianmarco Tamberi, who had a jump off, and then uh, the speaker or one of the referees or whatever they're called, the people that actually look into the sport, it was this most beautiful moment. If you guys haven't gone seen it, please go online, watch that moment. I have no idea. I'm not a crier. It makes me tear up. I have no idea why. Even talking about it, it's a really beautiful moment. So the guy, they're basically tied, and they keep tying during their jump off, because they're high jumpers, right? So that's the sport where you take the high stick and you jump over a certain height, and usually it's a really high, guys. It's over. It almost looks like a limbo into like a jumpy house. This is for you guys to get the image, and the one of the moderators or referees of that event actually goes to both of them and says, you have two options. You either keep going to decide who gets gold, or, and then the Italian guy says, do we get to share it? Like, do we get to share it? And he says it's allowed to share it. And before the commentator even, or the referee, or whatever they're called, I'm so sorry, realizes that, uh, says yes, that they have said yes, they embrace each other and they yell or whatever. It was kind of nice, because in a world where people kind of even backstab each other in order to win in this world, and people always say it's a doggy dog world out there, it's kind of nice to see two people who are literally friends, reporters and outlets are not reporting that in real life they are friends, because they've met each other in the past and kept in touch through online, that they've cheered on. It's a beautiful moment. They said, yeah, we'll share gold medal, like there's no question. We'll share it. Like, we don't want to compete. Like, we'll share it, and it's beautiful. And so Qatar gets a gold medal, and also Italy does, and it's a really beautiful moment. And they both, of course, Italy is even more excited, but yeah, it was quite a great moment to see.
Absolutely. So, although the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 is almost over, if you still want to watch the Tokyo Olympics, you can go check it out on the NBC network or you can go check it out on Peacock.
Yay, Peacock. It's great.
So, moving on from the Olympics, we also need to talk about the serious. Now, despite the COVID surge in California, state superintendent says that California is on course to reopen schools for in-person learning. According to ABC 7 News, despite the current surge in COVID-19 cases across the country and California, the state is still on course to reopen schools for in-person learning in the fall. State Superintendent of Public Instruction Tony Thurman visited Monte Vista Elementary School in Highland Park to tour the school and meet the staff working for LA's best summer learning program. This comes as a rise in cases is seen across much of the state, with increases in infections led by the highly transmissible Delta variant that has proliferated since California fully reopened the economy June 15th. The vast majority of new cases are among unvaccinated peoples, and children under 12 years old still cannot get vaccinated, which means elementary schools could be COVID-19 hotspots. The LA County School Board says students will be wearing a mask 100% of the time. But if infection numbers drop enough, mask won't be required outside of school buildings at middle and high schools. So, that being said, Jeff, what is your opinion with school almost being back in session either this month or September, and the possibility that everything is going to be back in person?
Ooh. Um, it's a big question. For me personally, I think I was digging the hybrid just to take extra measures. I think it's still important to go to school to ask teachers questions and to be safe in that way. I'm gonna wish the most positive thoughts and the most well wishes for this to work out. And I know it was hard on parents. I know it was hard on students, and I know it was just hard on people in general to take school from home because not everybody has an environment where they're allowed to really focus or be part of schools. And I know, much respect to the teachers out there. So I'm hoping with the mask and I'm hoping with the vaccinations, we're not in too much of harm's danger out there, and we go back as much as we try to relinquish what we can and reopen schools and do and work with what we can, because I know a lot of parents were for this because their kids need time to be outside and to be more than just home too.
Personally speaking, I totally agree with my about the hybrid method. For people who don't know what hybrid is basically half in person, half virtual. I think at this current time, if we were at the cases where we were at before the Delta variant was a thing, I would have been more open minded about it
Yeah.
because there was even a day in Los Angeles County where there were no recorded COVID case infections. However, with the very high increased cases of the infections of COVID-19, it does make me very wary. As someone who does love children, for the children of tomorrow, for our leaders of tomorrow, it is something where I do want to be very wary. It would very much so break my heart if I were to hear class would be back in session and these amazing children are going to be at risk of getting infected.
Yes.
It very much so scares me. I feel as though we lead as a prime example when it comes to these children. So the fact that half of us are kind of for it, half of us are kind of not for it, it really does concern me. which is why I love the hybrid method a lot because you kind of get the best of both worlds. I would prefer for elementary, middle, and high school students if they could at least go to school from, let me say, 7:30 to 11 o'clock, 11 o'clock to 11:30. Let's have the youth go home. And then from 12 to 3, just let them do their studies back at home. I feel as though that's more than enough. And then when it comes to extracurricular activities, you can go back to the school or you can hold Zoom meetings. It really just varies on the schools and the organizations, but with everything going on with the Delta variant, I really do believe in protecting our children of tomorrow. So it is something in which I am very wary about. And I really do hope as time goes on that the cases are going to drop because the Delta variant was something that did come out of nowhere, considering we were doing so well with cases. But I really do hope that we'll fight back and we will continue to be as safe as we can because for people who think that I'm just being very overprotective and I'm just being someone in which I'm not really looking at the other side of things, I am. It is just more so like you also need to think of the children. You need to think about what are we going to teach them if we proceed with a certain action. So that's why I've been so wary and back and forth, and why I'm standing with my call of hybrid and not really saying let's keep everything virtual compared to keeping everything in person. So that's just me.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Yeah, and for people that don't know, a lot of articles have finally come out of why they made this decision. It's because the virtual learning has actually stopped and slowed down learning so much that some people are basically behind half a year moving on to the next classes. Not so much elementary schools and preschools, but more junior high and high schools. And so what that basically means is that a lot of classes, including like math or English, where you're supposed to learn things before going on to the next level, you're kind of not really getting there because you can't fit everything into virtual learning. Or people are not doing well in their grades. So that's why we say hybrid, because we understand, especially for high schoolers, that if you have extracurricular activities, there's things like sports, you have to be there. It's obvious. We're just saying be protected, be safe. We don't know who everybody lives with, and we love each other. So, you know, stay safe, guys. Take your vitamins and do as much as you can. So, uh, yes, very much.
Absolutely. So that is all that is trending at this time, but we are more than happy and more than excited to move on to our next segment, Hot Seats. In this segment, we bring you the inside scoop of the latest celebrity report cards that are going on in Hollywood and reported back to you. So, that being said, Jeff, let's start off with what's going on with Matt Damon.
Woo! It's gonna be rough. Um, but actually kind of fast to explain. So this probably will be one of the most confusing hot seats topics we will ever have. When supposedly one of the most woke actors, Matt Damon, and I say that because he speaks up for equal pay, he speaks up for immigrant rights, and he speaks up on global warming, admits to an interviewer, he admitted to an interviewer that he has until recently stopped using the gay slur, also known as the F word, due to his 13-year-old daughter. Entertainment Tonight Canada and other outlets report that the daughter felt so passionately about the road that she wrote him an essay for him to not use it anymore. Matt Damon said, I have never called anyone the F word, I'm going to say, in my personal life. And this conversation with my daughter was not a personal awakening. I do not use slurs of any kind. Words have powerful meaning. And this is a word that is definitely a strong word to use. Co, how does this make you feel?
Oh, where do we begin? Where do we begin? I'm not going to even talk about that word because, as someone who is a part of the LGBTQ plus community, it's a very derogative term. It's a very derogative term used primarily to refer to gay men and gay boys. And in American youth culture, it is very much so a trigger and very much so a traumatic trigger.
Yes.
And I never wish anyone to be told that they are the F word. I feel that Matt Damon, it's the same boat. Saying that you recently retired the offensive term, like, first of all, what do you mean you recently retired that term? How much have you been using this term? Do you know the history of this term? Do you know everything regarding how traumatic and how derogative this term is to the LGBTQ plus individuals? I really do think he has learned, but I think he needs to educate himself a little bit more because even though he's saying like I made a joke and
It's
I
just a,
got like treat size from my daughter, like about how like it was offensive. I'm like, it's a yes, there's a reason why it's so offensive. You need to throw that term away. Don't even bring it up in your vocabulary. Like, don't even bother. How does it even come up in conversation? You know what I'm saying? Like, it should never, that word should never come up in conversation. So the fact that it has, it makes me very upset. And in a jokingly manner, it's not a joke. It's never a joke. Don't even try to play it off as a joke. And if you think that we need to be more lenient about the term, you need to go do a little bit of research. That's just me.
yeah. I yeah, I do feel a lot of what you feel, and I've actually felt it for a very long time. I was a kid that was very much bullied, and so any kind of racial or homophobic or whatever it was, terms that just um, made people feel uncomfortable, I just don't use because I know what it's like and I know how triggering they can be, and it sucks. For me, Matt Damon brings up a really interesting point. I'm not, it is not okay, and I am not forgiving him in the sense of whatever, but I wish he would have been a lot more honest. He's from Boston. It's obvious they use that word, and a lot of guys use that word. It is not okay. It is not right. But we need to start now talking about it and say, hey, at least I understand. And at least he's retiring the word. I don't think he deserves hands of applause. I don't think he deserves candies or flowers. It's a word that just should never be used. But at least he's not. And I'm just speaking in general. I know a lot of ignorant people out there, right? A lot, a lot. And you know who you are. Um, and you use this word and we refuse to stop using this word, even when we scold you, even when we told you, because you think it's okay. And so I think for that part, I want to be like, okay, well, at least he's doing that. I don't think he deserves like praise or anything. I just think as people, we should say, oh, I understand. And he does explain that it's, he grew up in a different time or whatever. I'm 33 and I get it, right? There's a lot of people that thought it was okay. It does not mean it's okay. It does not mean it's right. For me, it's always been uncomfortable for any kind of words like that. I don't talk like that, but for a lot of people it was okay for them, so I'm happy to see when people are willing to at least open up their hearts and open up their minds and educate themselves to at least be, you know what, let me stop using this word, because there are a lot of people out there that say, oh, people are just too sensitive, oh, people are just too whatever. And it's not just the F word I'm talking about. I'm talking about a lot of other words. And I think that's BS. I think you're too lazy and you're too uneducated for you to start using that words, because you don't have to use that word to describe certain parties. There's no way. There's so many other wonderful words and wonderful language and great things you can use to there's so many words in the English language that we can use to really discuss our feelings and discuss, people and what they're going through. um I will say we need more people that are willing to be honest, but that's just on me.
Absolutely. So I wish we could stop it there, but there is another popular figure who is bringing negativity towards the LGBTQ plus community, in which Maiko has a lot to say about this one as well. We need to talk about DaBaby.
Well, this was one long and sorry weekend for DaBaby. If you guys don't know, he's definitely being canceled. He's being dropped by festivals. He's being dropped by a bunch of his third party sponsors because during his performance on and he is we'll get to it, he is on his second apology, right? So he made a first one which was non-successful. It was a gross one. It was basically him not taking ownership. We'll get to that too. Basically, he goes on a rant during his one of his festival performances, and he says this exactly. So I always have to, it says if you didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, or any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that make you die in 2 or 3 weeks, then put your cell phone lighters up. Fellas, if you ain't sucking the word in the parking lot, put your cell phone lighters up. And so all of this happened. A bunch of celebrities, of course, message back. The most famous, Elton John, Dua Lipa, even The Roots, who he got actually in a fight for. But Dua Lipa, in one of her statements, it's a longer statement, but she says, I really don't recognize this person who I worked with. I know my fans know where my heart lies, and I stand 100% with the LGBT community. And he makes his first apology, actually not really apologizing, saying that it's not that he was a homophobic rant, not that it was like and it's a longer speech. That's, that quote goes on and on, but it was basically like his fans are clean, his fans are not. He was basically slut shaming, and he was basically doing a lot of other stuff. And so when that didn't go well, we have his second apology, which was done a couple of days ago, where recently he says, anybody who has ever been affected by AIDS and HIV, y'all got the right to be upset. What I said was insensitive, and I have no intentions on offending anybody. So my apologies. The first apology he has made was clearly like, again, him over explaining that his gay fans are not the ones that have HIV. And that's just the short part of it. And so now, after all of that, we're trying to do the short version, guys, and the interesting version. It's a really long story. We're now back here. So he's being dropped, he's being canceled, and now he can't stop apologizing. Like, now he's saying he means it. Now he's saying he didn't mean to offend anybody, but that wasn't his first apology. Let me tell you that much. Should I go with my opinion, or would you like to go first?
I mean, I think you have a lot to say, so I'm gonna let you let it out, let out this tension. You have a lot to say. I know. For people who don't know, we're having a Zoom meeting with our videos on, and I know that my Jeffrey, when he's just reading it, he's just shaking his head. So I know you have a lot to say, so you gotta say it.
Yeah, I mean, do your research on this guy. I get it. Music, right? I don't believe in culture. We're always going to say that. I'm not one for that. It takes me a lot for that. Do I want him to be canceled? No. Do I think he's annoying as F? Yes, I do. This is not the first wrong thing he does. He has punched women in the face and gotten caught. And during concerts, he has made homophobic rants before. He has made fun of people. Even during Megan Thee Stallion, the alleged um, when he was having beef with Megan Thee Stallion, brings out Tory Lanez. And if you guys don't know that story, I'm going to give you the very short one, which is allegedly Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion on the feet, and there's video out there for that. Not the shooting, but the aftermath of when cops were trying to stop during a party here in LA, where he shot her in the feet. Her feet are bleeding, and she's walking to the car. It's a very weird and traumatizing video. If you guys want to look at it, it's out there. Sorry about that. And he brings him out and says he's basically, without saying, he's on his side. So he's just not a good person, and he's gotten in multiple fights with fans, with people in clubs, people. It's just not well. But on his comments alone, it is one of the most. We'll start from the first comments. From like, if you guys don't know, please do your readings or education, or even talk to someone that has HIV and AIDS. It's not just an LGBTQ community problem, it's an everyone problem, okay? Everybody's successful to it, and can get it basically, and it affects every shape, color. It doesn't matter who you are. We can all, it's a big deal. Anybody can get it, but we have better research for that now. And he wasn't even educated on what undetectable means, which is basically people that have taken care of themselves so much that even though they have symptoms and stuff, they can't technically pass if the other person also is taking some sort of medication. It's a lot more explanation. But this homophobic rant is just so annoying. He talks about people getting their, what, sucked in the parking lot. It's like, doesn't everybody do that at some point at high school and college? Not all of us have money. So don't act like you're special, first off. And if you're HIV, it doesn't mean you have to be gay. Like, there's a lot of straight people that were listening to your music, person, that you didn't know were at your concerts, who are now not going to listen to you because you're so smart, right? It's just, I just don't like it. I mean, when people are trying to make, I'm okay with free speech, I'm okay with other people, but when you're trying to rally up people, that speech was meant to rattle, that speech was meant to rally up. And the first apology was the worst apology. Please go look at it. And the second one means nothing to me. I don't think he has learned anything. I mean, at one point, one of his apologies, he said, well, the LGBT community doesn't bug me. Y'all do you. It's almost saying like, well, you're there, I'm just going to ignore you because, it's like being a person of color. You don't bug me. Just don't be near me. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the way I'm trying to shorten it up without going too much or cussing, because in the real life, Jeffrey cusses. So usually I say the B word a lot, and this is the time I would say it. I know Apple Podcasts allows me, but due to YouTube now, I'm going to keep it a little bit clean, because this ignorant A word is just gets me upset. All right, you can.
I mean, ditto.
Yeah.
Where do I start? Inaccurate, hurtful,
Yeah.
harmful. So let me educate you, because why not, According to the Joint United Nations program on HIV/AIDS, did you know globally wise, 37.7 million people globally were living with HIV in 2020. 1.5 million people became newly infected with HIV in 2020. 6,800,000 people died from AIDS-related illnesses in 2020. 27.5 million people were accessing therapy in 2020. 79.3 million people have become infected with HIV since the start of the epidemic, and 36.3 million people have died from AIDS-related illnesses since the start of the epidemic. So, that all being said, I don't accept the apology. I don't think I will accept your apology,
Mhm.
but I will say this. I hope you learned from your mistake. And I really believe that he was, personally speaking, this is my personal opinion. People don't come attack me. He was very insensitive. He had a lot of people, especially celebrities, like go off on him. Like, for example, Madonna. Madonna quoted, "If you're going to make hateful remarks to the LGBTQ plus community about HIV/AIDS, then know your facts." Elton John tweeted that he was shocked to read about the HIV misinformation and homophobic statements made by DaBaby, adding that such comments fuel stigma and discrimination and is the opposite of what our world needs to fight the AIDS epidemic. Even Usher, he said, "It is critical that DaBaby and his fans learn that people living with HIV today, when on effective treatment, lead long and healthy lives." So I'm going to keep it short. The fact that you would say what you said, you can't take it back. I think the fact that you're not even going on video and apologizing, that says a lot. And even for your second apology, for people who don't know, I love RuPaul's Drag Race. I follow season 8 winners, Bob the Drag Queen. He even allegedly said that this isn't even how you would type. Isn't even how you would talk. This ain't you. This is your publicist,
Yeah.
or this is people behind the scenes working under you, making this for you. It's not hard to take out a phone and just talk. And you don't even have decency to do that. The many individuals who do suffer with HIV and AIDS, what you did is a slap in their face, and they have the right to not forgive you. That's just my end of things. I just hope from a good heart that you learned from this mistake. What you said was very, very hurtful. And all I can wish upon is you learn from your mistake, you move on, and whilst moving on, you educate yourself and you become more civil and open minded when it comes to sensitive topics like these.
Agree. I mean, simple or short, I hope him and his people and the people who do follow remember compassion. Uh, do your research and move on. It's a big deal when someone who is also beloved by rappers, who is Elton John, someone who has slept with a lot of rapper Madonna, just kidding, and then are condemning you. It's a big deal. um I hope you learn your lesson. I hope you have compassion in your heart. I hope you mean your apology, because your first one sucked, and I hope you guys go read that one. It's time to move on.
Absolutely. So let's move on from the serious and let's go to the sass and the spicy. I agree. My co-agrees. It looks like Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis is saving money on soap. According to CNN Entertainment, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis appeared on an episode of Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert podcast, and the talk turned to bathing. After Shepard told co-host Monica Padman that using soap every day rids the body of natural oils, Kutcher and Kunis agreed, saying they only wash vitals every day. Padman was stunned to be in the daily full body wash minority and asked, "Who taught you not to wash?" Kunis then responded, "I didn't have hot water growing up as a child, so I didn't shower very much anyway." That has apparently continued with her and Ashton Kutcher's two kids, Wyatt, age 6, and Dimitri, age 4. Kunis then went on to say, "I wasn't that parent that bathed my newborns ever." If you can see the dirt on them, clean them. Otherwise, there's no point, said Ashton Kutcher. Kutcher said he does wash his armpits and crotch daily and nothing else ever, and has a tendency to throw some water on my face after a workout to get all the salts out. Kunis said she washes her face twice a day. So that being said, Jeffrey, are you team I shower every day, or are you team I shower when I feel like it?
Team, I shower every day, and I do have a lot of products I use too. I'm very into skincare. It's a long story. I'm not gonna explain here, but I, it took a lot for me to just really look into this story and really think about it, because I think shower are kind of a taught thing. I think it's a cultural thing. I think it's a bio thing, right? A lot of people may disagree with me because there are a lot of people out there. I have friends who can work out, do every day, and like, of course, they have to wash their crotch area and their behind, and wash their hands and stuff and their face, but that technically don't have to shower. They just don't stink. And then there's people like me that if I don't take a shower at least once a day, I'm gonna smell really gross. And I don't allow that to happen because I was taught to shower every day. It's very rarely that I don't. Even when I was in hospital, I was almost begging for like a SpongeBob because I just couldn't take it after 3 days. It's a long story where I was there, but it was just so gross. I love to exfoliate. I love lotions and potions. I love my skincare. I love my brushes and loofahs, and I don't understand why people. It's also a time for meditation. It's time for waking up. It's time for you to feel good. It's something that gives you confidence. I understand the kid part, you don't have to because they do have delicate skin, but you do have to take in mind that they play dirty and they always are around germs and stuff. So at least like, you know, get it together. I don't know. I've even hooked up with people with really bad odors and stuff, and they're not unapologetic about it. And your turn.
Ditto.
But this is
I
fun. This is a fun topic. I actually is something I had to talk with my family because they were there when I saw a lot of the outlets. I was watching videos. The talked about it. The View talked about it. Everybody was talking about this. Even called it Stinkgate. And it was really funny. Um, but for me, culturally, no, I have to take a shower and I wash every day. And my skin is really dry sometimes, but that's why I exfoliate and hydrate with lotions. But yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
ditto. I'm also team I shower every day, but for me, there's a reason why I shower every day. It's because every day after I go to work and after I'm done with work, I work out afterwards. And after I work out, I'm sweaty. I would love to meet a person who says, "Oh no, yeah, after I shower, I just go to bed." I'm gonna be all like, ugh, ew, no, I'm not. Nah, nah, no. I shower every day. I'm the same with my I follow a skincare routine. I am someone in which I love the lotions that I use. I love being able to experiment with different types of body lotions and face moisturizers and toners and serums and face oils. Like it's fun. And it makes your skin like so like nice and like those face masks. I'm like, it makes me actually fun fact when I read this story, it made me think of that one SpongeBob episode
oh
where
yeah.
SpongeBob was like, being clean is so much better. And then Patrick's all like, I love my filth.
Yeah, exactly.
I think for personally speaking, like I was someone in which I was like thinking back, I was like, maybe you should shower once, maybe twice a day. And then there are actually some people and some experts as well who recommends or even says that like you should shower at least 2 to 4 times a week, or you should shower every other day, which, to be honest, it kind of like shocks me because I was always taught to shower every day.
Well, it makes sense to me because I get it, right? It really does drip, but that's this is realistically the only way your skin won't get dry is if you take a lukewarm to colder shower, right? Or not too cold, like right in the middle. And that's not going to be a lot of us because a lot of us love taking hot showers and taking our time, okay? But at least I do. I know that's me. But and then towards the end I take like a cold shower to make sure my skin isn't too dry and it gets hydrated or whatever. But yeah, I seen doctors also say like, yeah, your crotch, your behind, your armpits are very important. But yeah, like you shouldn't even use soap on everywhere. It should be really fast. It should be a 5 to 10 minute shower. And I'm like, I don't get this, but I guess because they don't want our skin stuff to shed. But I mean, nothing happens. If you take a shower every day, it's good. I mean, you just don't want to smell. I don't know. When I
At least just get in the shower and shower for 3 to 4 minutes. That's all I ask for. Just wash your body. Just wash the body. That's all I'm asking for.
even if that's topical, but wash real good all those places that stink, at least make me believe that you're clean, because all of that is gross. I understand for kids a lot more, but even then, I think I'm still gonna bathe my kid almost every day because that's
Ditto.
yeah. But I mean,
Personally, just take a shower. That's just my personal opinion. At least take a shower. And if you take a shower, like minimum 3 to 4 minutes, that's all I'm asking for. But, like I'm team showers. So I
showers
love
away, guys.
I love showers. So that being said, you guys, we are going to wrap up with our last segment, spilling the reality. As reality TV show aficionados, Mike Coe and I love talking about tea that's not our own. In this segment, we recap the latest reality and spill it back to you. So, Jeff, let's talk about the most talked about reality TV show that's currently trending on Twitter and on TikTok,
Yeah.
F-Boy Island.
Yes, F-Boy Island. So basically, if you guys don't know what F-Boy Island is, it's an HBO Max series. Thank you HBO, I guess, in some sort of way, where three women who are cookie cutter gorgeous, they're very beautiful women, have the right to choose between an F-Boy and a nice guy. The catch is they don't know who is who. Out of a group of 12 to 16 bachelors, they have to go on dates and figure out who is who. And if an F boy wins, there's a cash prize involved. It's a really interesting show. So, yeah. If you like these kinds of stuff, I say give it a watch, give it a chance. If you don't, and I know Michael has a lot to say, so that's why I'm introducing.
I mean, here's my thing, you guys. Me and Jeffrey are both graduates with film degrees. We both understand when it comes to a television reality TV show background, this is a great concept and a great premise.
Yes.
As a matchmaker, though, as you can tell by the octave of my voice, I have a lot to say. First of all, these three women, these three women are going into this trying to find something serious, but I didn't know that this was a game show. Let's be honest. Like, I thought this was more so a game show for the guys, because the guys who are playing the F boys, they're doing this for the money. And then there are the guys who are looking for something more. But let's be honest, like, it's going to be messy. And that's what I'm personally here for. Entertainment value is there. The concept is there. As a matchmaker, I don't agree with it. If anything, I wish I could just reach out to those three bachelorettes myself and be all like, listen, do you want something real? I'm a matchmaker here in LA. I can find you someone. Don't try and find within the group of men who's the F boy and who's the nice boy. Like, and then let's be honest, like, what will happen if the nice boy is literally just all like, like, oh, I was actually doing it for the publicity, or if the F-boy's like, I actually caught feelings for her, but the money, like, it's something in which it's like, oh my God, it's so messy, which is like why the media side of me is like, I love it. I love the drama. I just love watching it unfold because it's not my own drama. So I get to eat with my popcorn and just be all like, ooh, this is going to get messy. But as a matchmaker, it makes me cringe because I'm just like, no, don't make those mistakes. No, no, no. He's clearly the F boy. He's clearly the nice boy. Because I fear for what these women is that it's a reality TV show at the end of the day. For some of these men, it's a game show.
Who haven't watched the show yet, there is a segment towards the end after people have been kicked off. They say, do you have any last words? Where they're allowed to spill all the tea. And it's the most interesting thing to watch because either an F boy or nice boy, like their image goes from like, oh, they're kind of nice to they're completely like trying to destroy other people. It's a really interesting concept, you know. I don't know if I love or hate the show, but I will say this. I love Nikki Glazer and she's the host and she puts people in their place. So it's kind of nice to see that. She jokes with the girls where they're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. And she jokes with the F boys enough to be like, oh, maybe that's not nice, you know. So she's the right kind of host to have. To see her call out people has been pretty interesting.
And then let's be honest, Jeff, you are here for the drama.
I am.
You're here for it. I can see it in your face.
I'm not a big fan of some of those other dating shows that I will not mention.
The Bachelor.
Yeah.
A Bachelorette. Sorry, it's something in my throat.
Exactly. Sorry, guys. I didn't watch that one. You know.
And Ayup.
But yeah, but I do love Love is Blind, and I do like
another show that I love the concept.
Too Hot to Handle, which I love. If you guys haven't watched Too Hot to Handle, please watch Too Hot to Handle. I think it's the best concept ever. It's basically hot people not being able to touch each other. It's a really good show. But yeah, so I mean, I'm interested. I watched it. It's kind of like, you know, like you said, it's kind of like it is one of my hobbies to talk back to the screen. I'm one like that. That's why sometimes I like to go to the movie theater by myself to go talk to the screen. You know, it's yeah, because you're shouting sometimes. It's like you can't be that stupid. And some of the girls, to be honest, they're not even there. They don't know what they want. There's one girl who definitely wants a relationship, but she's been very honest about that. But there's another girl who's like, I want a relationship, but I also want to be with like the bad boy first. And it's like, well, you don't want a relationship. So it's like
she wants some good.
Yes.
Here.
Well, we don't shame you for that. You should.
No, there's nothing wrong with it at all. Oh, heck yeah. Girl, go for it. There's nothing wrong with it.
But don't lie to us. Be honest. Let us know what's up, you know? But yeah, I think, yeah, one of the most interesting shows for sure. And I think it had a lot of older people who are not from our generations ask, what is an F-boy? And that was kind of fun to see. Oh, did we describe what an F-boy is?
I'm pretty sure people know what an F-boy is.
No, because I have met older people that didn't. The short version is a player, and that's the nice way of saying it. The F does stand for a bad word. So we'll go from there. But these F-boys will do anything. That's the difference. Anything to get girls in the bedroom.
If you're interested in watching FBOY Island, you can check out FBOY Island on HBOMax.
Yes, please do. So thank you guys so much for joining us. That's all we have for today's show. I know it's kind of long, but thank you guys for being on the ride and wherever you guys are listening from, which is YouTube or Apple Podcasts out there. During any time of the day, we're here for you guys. Please check us out on our Instagram, what's trending podcast, our Twitter at SWT podcast _ And so thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope you guys have a lovely time this weekend and a wonderful summer. These next couple of weeks, we're gonna be back with what's trending again. And I am Jeffrey, and this is
Anthony.
and we're signing off, and we wish you peace.